perhaps more telling of just how far this team has come in a very short time is the team schedule for this season. The Commanders will play at least 5 primetime games as well as on Christmas Day. Joining me now is Scott Allen with the Washington Post. So Scott, I like what you said today in your article. The Commanders won't sneak up on anyone this year. Everyone is on notice, including the NFL.
That's right. And the good news with so many primetime games for the Commanders is that fans who might live outside of the area will get to see this team on a lot of Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays this year. And yeah, I mean, the NFL could put the Browns and the Titans on Monday Night Football every week and people would watch, but it's in their interest to put some of the jewels of the league and some of the rising stars, and in Jaden Daniels, they have one of those, and it reflects in the schedule.
Yeah, let's now break this down. I mean, Washington will play in 10 what they call national windows. That just means most or all of the country will see them play. But beyond the exposure and expanding the fan base, all good things, what does this mean for the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another sign that they're back. It's a very quick turnaround. I mean, it was, I think in the 90s, Washington football fans were used to tuning in, you know, for Monday Night Football against the Cowboys and some Sunday night spots here and there. And then, you know, for a lot of this century, Washington was lucky to get, if you're a fan of primetime games, you were lucky to be able to see your team play in those key spots, you know, 1 or 2 times a year. I mean, even last year, coming off that 4-13 season, they went into the season with 2 scheduled primetime games. And they got flexed to a third, but this year to come with 5, the potential to flex to more. It's the elite teams that get the most primetime games. So the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes, have a league high 7 primetime games this year. And then you have the Cowboys, which they're kind of the outlier. They still will draw an audience whether they're good or bad, and they have 6 primetime games. But after that, it's the Commanders with a group of other teams with 5, which just says the NFL considers them one of their biggest draws. And as they showed last year, they're one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, they're hot. No other way to say it. They're hot. A lot of folks are excited about this team, but of course, there's also a price to pay, you could say, for the players. This is really an aggressive schedule. I mean, you talked about it, 4 consecutive NFC East matchups. They close out the season against Philly, reigning Super Bowl champs. What impact do you think this will all have on the season?
Yeah, I think the schedule sets up pretty well for Washington, even with the players are going to be a little bit out of their normal routine of, you know, the standard game you think of for an East Coast team is a 1 p.m. start, right? So they're going to have to get used to some shorter weeks, some later nights, and that trip to Madrid, the first ever NFL game in Spain, is going to throw a potential wrench in things. But I think the bye comes at a good time in week 12. I think Washington's schedule is kind of backloaded with the most difficult stretch on that late end. The Eagles, defending Super Bowl champion Eagles, 2 times in 3 weeks to close the regular season, which is interesting that the NFL would do that because, especially I think with that final game, week 18, you don't know whether either team is going to be playing for much at that point. I mean, if either Washington or Philadelphia has clinched a playoff spot or a division, some of the juice might be taken out of that game, which would potentially play to one of those teams' advantages. But yeah, I think that stretch towards the end is going to be the toughest for Washington. Some of their easier games, I mean, there's 7 playoff teams on this year's schedule. It's a lot tougher based on opponent winning percentage than it was last year. But I think this team they think they're ready to take the next step, and they'll play a primetime schedule to kind of see if they can.
And finally, I mean, the game in Madrid, as you pointed out, an opportunity really for the NFL to expand their global reach, but also for these players, young players like Jaden Daniels, to expand his brand and his name recognition overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these players in the offseason, especially the bigger stars, are taking trips and, you know, seeing some of the European soccer teams over there. Jaden Daniels was in Paris in April, took in a soccer match and visited the Louvre. But yeah, it's a huge opportunity for the league. They've been expanding their kind of international footprint with, you know, more games every year held abroad. more places. Germany, London. Washington hasn't played abroad since 2016 when they went to London and tied the Bengals. So yeah, this is a huge opportunity for the Commanders, and for fans here, something a little bit different. If you're on the East Coast, it'll be a 9:30 a.m. local start, so you'll have the rest of the day free after whatever happens against the Dolphins.
Right. All right. So Scott, final prediction: more doinks, more Hail Marys this season. What's your projection?
Oh man, they do have the Bears coming in for a rematch on Monday Night Football. I don't think we'll see anything quite as insane as that Hail Mary against the Bears. I'm not sure they'll get to 12 wins with the more difficult schedule, but I would say this is a double-digit win team and a playoff team again in year 2 of the Jaden Daniels era.
All right, Scott Allen with the Washington Post. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.